What is up, guys? Today we are back with another video in our Welfare vs. Wealth series. If you are unfamiliar with this series, we go around RuneScape testing out bosses and monsters with different gear tier setups. We test them with a Welfare setup, typically the cheapest realistic setup, a medium setup, and a wealth setup. We then determine the cost of each and which one is the most effective. So far, we have tested Barrows, KBD, Lava Dragons, and Zulrah. If you have not seen those videos, check them out. They are in the description. Today, we are doing a Welfare vs. Wealth video on Rune Dragons. I will be doing 1 hour with each setup, keep track of the loot and how many kills I get per setup, and then figure out the average loot per kill and determine how much you make per hour with each setup. I do plan on making an ultimate noobs guide on Rune Dragons, so this video will definitely help with that video. If you want a guide on Rune Dragons, let me know in the comment section and I will make it happen soon. Before we get into these setups, I want you guys to know the stats on my account. My account has 95 attack, 99 strength, 91 defense, 94 range, 70 prayer, 85 magic, and 98 hit points. If you guys are new to the channel, go ahead and consider subscribing right now so you can see more of my content. Now let's get started with the welfare setup. This is the welfare setup we will be using, but before I go into detail about the cost, I want to first explain that I did try a setup that was a lot cheaper and cost around 200 KGP, and it honestly sucked and I could barely get 2 kills in one inventory, so I decided to be more realistic and switch to this setup as the welfare setup. It includes the Helm of Natus Knot, the Fire Cape, the Amulet of Glory, the Honorable Blessing, the Zamorakian Hasta, Torag Plate Body and Legs, Dragon Defender, Barrows Gloves, Insulated Boots, and the Warrior Ring. In the inventory, we have a 1-sip Super Combat Potion, a 1-sip Super Anti-Fire Potion, which we have to use because we are not using a Dragonfire Shield. We also have 3 Prayer Potions, a Dig Site Pendant to teleport there, a Rune Pouch with House Teleports to restore our stats and bank in between trips, and the rest of the inventory is Monkfish. This setup is the most basic entry-level gear you should use at Rune Dragons, but you can upgrade the Defender to the Dragonfire Shield for 5 mil GP if you can afford it, and it'll definitely help you out. The total cost of this welfare setup is 16.3 mil, which may sound a lot for a welfare setup, but the Zamorakian Hasta is the cheapest weapon that is actually effective at Rune Dragon. Trust me, the Dragon Sword or Abyssal Dagger make Rune Dragons not worth it. I will now show you guys how to get to the Rune Dragons, and keep in mind that this is the same path I will use for all of these setups. I first teleport to Lithgrin with the Dig Site Pendant, set up my quick prayers to protect from magic and piety, continue north and run through the entryway, enter the Rune Dragon area by going through the border, pod up, pray, and attack the Rune Dragons for an hour. While doing this setup, I noticed I could still AFK a little bit, but because I did not have the Dragonfire Shield, which does have more defensive bonuses, I did take more damage and had to pay more attention than I normally would. With each of these setups, I paid close attention for the most part, but if you were to do Rune Dragons in the future, I would probably recommend AFKing on them while training on another account. After the hour was over, I teleported to the Grand Exchange and got all the loot we picked up from the dragons. The total loot we got from 1 hour with our welfare setup using the Zamorakian Hasta was 1,090,000 GP. We averaged around 3 to 4 kills per trip and had a grand total of 28 Rune Dragon kills in the hour. We will now go to the medium setup, and at the end of the 3 setups we will calculate the cost of each and see which one is the most effective. Here is the medium setup. We had some major upgrades with this setup, and this is definitely the next tier for Rune Dragons. The biggest upgrade that we made was the Dragon Hunter Lance. The Dragon Hunter Lance increases 20% in accuracy and damage when used against dragons, and this thing completely shreds Rune Dragons and is by far the next item you want to upgrade if you are doing Rune Dragons. We also upgraded our Glory to a Fury for more defensive and attack bonuses. We upgraded the Dragon Defender to the Dragonfire Shield, which gives us more defensive bonuses and allows us to downgrade our Super Anti-Fire Potion to an Extended Anti-Fire Potion. The last thing we upgraded was our Warrior Ring. We upgraded it to the Berserker Ring Imbued. The inventory also got a slight upgrade. We now have an Extended Anti-Fire Potion like I mentioned instead of the Super Anti-Fire Potion. I say upgrade because it actually lasts longer than the Super Anti-Fire Potion and it costs less. And we now have 4 prayer potions instead of 3 because our trips will be longer and we will have sharks instead of monkfish. The total cost for this setup is around 108 mil GP, which is close to 90 mil more than the previous welfare setup. The cost of the Dragon Hunter Lance alone is 99 million GP, so that accounts for a huge cost difference. The Lance is the next step for gear upgrades for Rune Dragons and is definitely the item you want to focus on trying to obtain if you want to make more money here. easier. We obviously used the same method of getting to the rune dragons, but one major thing I noticed is my trips lasted much longer. The defensive bonuses from the Fury and the Dragonfire's shield really made the dragons more AFKable, which is also a bonus, but I did still pay close attention pretty much the entire time. The Lance made kills much more efficient, and we used less food and potions during each kill. The Sharks alone extended our trips, but you can easily do rune dragons with monkfish to save some extra money. There was a few times where I would have to drop sharks to make more room in my inventory, but most of the time I came back with less food and picked up the food that I had dropped. I believe that extended anti-fire potions last for around 12 minutes, and the super fire only lasts for 6 minutes, so that was helpful as well. After the hour was up, we took all of the loot out and headed to the Grand Exchange. We made a total of 1.6 mil GP in an hour of using the Dragon Hunter Lance with our medium setup. We averaged around 5 to 6 kills per trip, sometimes more, and we had a total of 44 kills in our 1 hour of rune dragons with the medium setup. Now time for the wealth setup. For this setup, we went with the most commonly used armor that you will see at the rune dragons, full Justiciar. We upgraded our Thorax to Justiciar for the extra defensive bonuses and also the added effect of reducing damage. It also has high prayer bonuses as well and will cause the rune dragons to be much more AFKable. If you do decide to or already have a rune dragon alt account, this is definitely what you want to upgrade next after the lance to make the rune dragons easier while training on another account. I also upgraded the Fury to an Amulet of Torture, and now before you go to the comments typing, you know the Fury has more defensive bonuses, right? I'm fully aware. I went for more attack bonuses with this wealth setup because I'm not AFKing the whole time, which will likely give us more kills per trip, but you can use the Fury as well, and a lot of people do for the defensive bonuses and the added AFK ability. We also upgraded our Barrows gloves to the Ferocious gloves. Now, this is something I never spend money on when doing rune dragons, but almost everyone that does rune dragons says these are the best in slots, so if you do have the money, it is worth upgrading for the extra attack bonuses. Our inventory is the same as the previous medium setup, and the grand total of the wealth setup is almost exactly 200 mil GP. This is almost another 90 mil upgrade from the previous setup, but this is the end goal gear setup for rune dragons if you're planning on mostly AFKing or want longer trips. Additionally, you can also use full bandos, but this will make you eat more food and make your trips shorter. I find that the extra DPS with bandos does not outweigh the ability to extend your trips with Justiciar, but if you are on a Slayer task, I would probably recommend using bandos to get it done as fast as possible. When we were using the wealth setup, our trips felt a lot longer and it felt like I was getting more kills each trip. I found myself dropping sharks more often or juggling them to keep them from disappearing, so you could in theory bring a rune pouch with alching runes to free up some inventory space. We ate less food per kill on average and overall had longer trips. The torture sped up some kills but wasn't a huge difference, so I'm unsure if I will use the Fury or torture in the future with this setup. At the end of the hour, we took all of our loot and headed to the Grand Exchange one last time to see what we got. From 1 hour with the Justiciar wealth setup, we made 1.9 mil GP and averaged around 7 to 8 kills per trip. We also had 45 total kills, which is surprisingly only one more kill than the medium setup. I imagine that this is because our trips were longer, but the kills were not necessarily faster, meaning that this was still easier to do with less banking. I will now go over all these setups and determine which one is the most effective based off of the results, but before we do that, please consider subscribing to the channel because around 90% of you watching right now are not subscribed and we're getting closer and closer to 5k subs, and that would be an awesome goal if we could reach that. Now, time for some calculations. The welfare setup cost 16.3 mil and we got 28 kills with it. The medium setup cost 108 mil and we got 44 kills with it. The wealth setup cost 200 mil and we got 45 kills with it. If we combine the kills, which is 117, and add up all the money we made from each hour, which is 4,590,000 GP, that means a rune dragon kill is worth approximately 39k GP. With the welfare setup, we will make an average of 1,092,000 GP an hour. With the medium setup, we will average 1,716,000 GP an hour, and with the wealth setup, we will average 1,755,000 GP an hour. This shows that there is a significant jump in money per hour when switching from the Zamorakian Hasta to the Dragon Hunter Lance. This means I would highly recommend doing rune dragons with the Dragon Hunter Lance. The difference in cost between the medium and wealth setup looks like it is not worth the extra 40k GP an hour. Based off of these numbers, I would say the medium setup is the most cost effective. However, the wealth setup is by far the most AFKable, and you will average more kills per trip, making it seem a lot easier. The welfare setup is still great money per hour if you only have around 16 mil to spend, so I would recommend using it if you are rebuilding or if you have little to no money on an alt account that has rune dragons unlocked. I'm honestly shocked that the wealth setup did not dominate in this comparison, and I'm curious as to why the medium setup did so well. I am assuming it is because we did not really make our kills faster with the armor upgrade, but I'm still confused how the amulet upgrade and the gloves upgrade did not make the kills go significantly up per hour. Regardless, I am super happy with the results from this, and this will prove to be extremely useful for people wanting to test out the rune dragons and my future guide on rune rune dragons. If you guys enjoyed this video and found it helpful, go ahead and leave a like, and if you have any suggestions for future videos in this series or in general, go ahead and let me know in the comment section. I am also doing a series where I am creating a rune dragon alt, so if you're interested in that, check the series out. It is in the description. If you want to hang out or PVM in game, consider joining my clan chat. It is just Hartblitz. I would like to get the CC popping again, so if you want to help do that, go ahead and join. We also have a Discord and it is in the description. Thanks guys for watching. Stay tuned for my next video.